Kim Kardashian recently shared how she makes sure her kids aren't finishing all their Halloween candy. In an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live ahead of her American Horror Story Delicate Part 2 finale, the 43-year-old reality star and entrepreneur shared with Kimmel what it was like growing up next to Madonna in her childhood and adult years, and what it's like trick-or-treating with the Material Girl singer. Kimmel's like, I would imagine this is like a celebrity neighborhood, but like, you got good candy, right? Kim was like, yes, and then Kimmel was like, Madonna allowed her kids to eat candy? She seems very healthy. And Kim was like, yeah, absolutely, she's very healthy. But I mean, I take it and then I throw it away, or I donate it. Kimmel was like, okay, so if you take away your kid's candy, next time videotape it. I'd like to have it. Kind of a hobby of mine, which obviously he was referring to his viral segment where every year, the day after Halloween, parents videotape their kids, telling them they ate all their candy, they send him the video, he plays it, and people laugh, or so I'm told. Apparently with fame comes the right to be slobs, at least according to the Kardashian housekeepers, who claim the girls never clean up after themselves, yet expect their rooms and closets to always be camera ready. Well, there's no doubt that the Kardashian women are busy with their multiple shows, their families, numerous business ventures. Some folks have argued that they don't have the right to be so demanding of the housekeepers who help to tend their homes, which I agree. This even led to a lawsuit in 2021, as reported by NBC News, with 7 workers, not 1, not 2, but 7, claiming that Kim Kardashian failed to pay overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks, while expecting her housekeepers to always be on call to pick up after her. Look, if you want luxury services, you've got to pay luxury prices. That's how it is. You've got to pay overtime. You got to pay expenses. You have to provide breaks. Legally mandated for a reason. Shayna Moakler, Travis Barker's ex-wife, went on a podcast and claimed that Kim Kardashian hooked up with him, which is a major bombshell considering Travis is now married to Kim's sister Kourtney. Not only that, but there was allegedly cheating involved. Yeah, Shayna claimed that Travis was seeing Kim behind her back and that Kim played a major part in the breakdown of their marriage. Now, this was during an appearance on the Dumb Blonde podcast, and Shayna revealed that she and Travis were working on their relationship when she was sent text messages between him and Kim from some anonymous source. What did those text messages say? They were trying to meet up at her sister's house to do the deed. Now, apparently when she showed the texts to Travis, he had already deleted them. So yeah, she had reason to be suspicious. But what people can't seem to get over about this story is the fact that Travis might have been interested in Kim before he was into Kourtney. And that's something that would promote hurt feelings all around. But like, is Kim Kardashian really a homewrecker? Would she really go after her sister's man and not put it on TV? I don't know. Sounds unlikely to me. I feel like this should have been a storyline of some sort on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They say that as you get more and more famous, you get more and more lonely and isolated. Like, Kim K used to have a lot of high-profile celebs on her list of friends. We're talking Beyonce, even Taylor Swift for a hot minute. But her former assistant Stephanie revealed that Beyonce and Kim had quite the feud and often badmouthed each other, which hasn't become like super known because they did it privately in their homes. Stephanie also said that Kim has a hard time keeping friends because she thinks she's better than everybody else, and she tries to be better than everybody else too. Let's see, we've got a whole list of people that she's cut off over the years. Jordan Woods, Black China, and Drake. It's easy to judge someone who has a big ego, but would any of us act different in Kim's situation? Most of us will ever know, but like, why would you think you're better than your friends? According to a March 2023 Bloomberg Businessweek report, Kim was questioned by the feds as part of this crazy investigation into the big Malaysian financier. I think his name is Zhou Lo, who was a mogul at the center of the big infamous 1MDB fund embezzlement scandal. So US prosecutors alleged that Lo had stolen at least 4.5 billion from One Malaysia Development Berhad, which was founded and led by a former prime minister. The Justice Department indicted Lo in 2018 for conspiring to launder billions of dollars stolen from the development fund and paying out hundreds of millions of dollars in bribes. And since then, he's been like a fugitive. I think he's living in China. In 2019, Kim told the FBI that she once played Baccarat in a Las Vegas casino with Lo and others, and she ended up winning big. Now, he told her, keep your chips, which were worth $350,000. And she told the FBI that when she went to the casino counter to cash out, she was handed $250,000 in a trash bag full of $100 bills. So she put the trash bag full of cash in her carry-on bag and boarded a Southwest Airlines flight back to LA. Once again, sketch. On a later trip to Vegas, Kim collected the remaining $100K, again, in a trash bag. Look, I don't know a lot of big gamblers, but this sounds sketchy. Don't you think? Let me know in the comments. The Kardashians are known to take many extravagant vacations and ventures, and one memorable visit to Bora Bora on Keeping Up with the Kardashians people will know about it. Well, there, Kim reportedly lost her diamond earrings, leading the whole family to search the water for her prized jewelry. Naturally, losing something of such great worth and importance brought plenty of viewers in and sparked a lot of discussion online about the episode. Everybody was worried. Where's Kim's earring? Seriously, like, there's people who have never seen a whole episode of the show, but if you quoted them, "Kim, there's people dying," they'd roar laughing. I'm not even a super fan. I quote it all the time. But the problem here, according to RadarOnline.com, Kim's ex-husband, Kris Humphries, said it didn't actually happen. Kim didn't lose her earrings. The move was a publicity stunt to get views. While this surely wasn't the only time Keeping Up with the Kardashians created a false moment, the lost earrings are a prime example of the lack of reality in the reality show. It also shows viewers should reserve judgment and sympathy when something happens on the show, since it might be fabricated for views, which is something we'll talk about more in a moment. We all know reality TV is quasi-scripted by this point in our lives. If you didn't, my bad. But like, when something is this heavily scripted, it's just annoying. When you hear about the Kardashians, you probably automatically assume they're entitled divas, and sadly, you're not wrong. Reports have surfaced that the Kardashians, especially the younger generation, were very kind to the camera crew when Keeping Up with the Kardashians first started in 2007. But as the show progressed, the family got a lot more famous, their kindness and respect for the crews they worked with dwindled, causing unpleasant and unfriendly moments, to say the least, behind the scenes. Ah yes, when fame and money reveal people's true colors. According to The Sun, the Kardashians repeatedly berate crew members and make unreasonable demands on anybody in their path. Additionally, the girls often try to direct what happens or demand multiple reshoots of simple moments on the show to place themselves in the best light they can, at the expense of the rest of the family and crew. Well, after learning how poorly they treat their staff, this probably isn't like a big surprise revelation to anybody, but like it's not a good thing, and probably something the girls want to keep under wraps. One of the most talked about events of Keeping Up with the Kardashians was Kim's extremely short-lived marriage to Kris Humphries. This marriage lasted less than 3 months and commanded headlines for like months if not years following the split. The whole situation was awkward and Humphries reportedly felt betrayed by Kim, feeling that the marriage was all in the name of ratings. The 72-day wedding will forever live on in infamy. And when you consider there's no such thing as bad publicity, I guess it was a boon for the girls. Why would they waste all that time and money? No. Why would you waste all that time and money if it wasn't gonna work out? Who knows? According to the Washington Post, the marriage was meant for just PR, just to drive awareness and ratings for the show. In fact, Kim wanted her goodbye to Humphries to be on the show, but producers were like, it's a little much. These days, Humphries wants nothing to do with the family and has asked to be completely omitted from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Sorry dude, wish you all the best away from this circus. This is probably one of the worst kept secrets, but it's worth mentioning. So easily one of the most controversial moments in the Kardashian saga is the release of Kim's intimate tape with Ray J. When the tape was first leaked, Kim sued the company to keep it out of the public eye. But a lot of folks have pointed out that Kim has made an impressive $5 million from the home movie. And it's possible that this leak was a publicity move. In fact, Ray J himself said it was Kim's mom, Kris, who actually released the tape. A lot of people believe the release by Kris was meant to drive attention to the family, and it worked. Only 6 months after the tape was leaked, Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered with strong viewership. For her part, Kris did do a lie detector test on The Late Late Show with James Corden and said she had nothing to do with the leak. But like, who's gonna trust a lie detector test on a talk show? Also, who trusts James Corden? As one might expect from a reality TV show these days, yes, I've already said it, not everything you see is real. And a lot of the events on Keeping Up with the Kardashians were staged, including Kourtney's vicious vocal battles with Scott. It's just bonkers. According to the New York Daily News, once the camera stopped rolling, the duo would laugh about the filmed fights and the drama, and they would discuss how it would drive viewership up. That being said, it's also been revealed that Scott has faced serious addictions, leading some folks to wonder if the fights on the show were real, they were scripted, they were a mixture of both, just playing off of the original fights. The assumptions made were, well, maybe the fights being fake was a cover-up for how serious the issues were in the relationship. Regardless, there's no denying the tension these fights created among fans of the show. The duo ended up splitting for good in 2015, and Kourtney is now married to the famous musician Travis Barker. I guess we'll just never know what's real, what's calculated with the Kardashian family.
In at number 10, Nick Lachey. Nick Lachey also exposed Kim for being a little too friendly with the paparazzi in order to get some publicity from him. The singer claims that Kim might have only been dating him for publicity. Apparently the pair only dated for about a week and some shady stuff went down. One time he said, let's just say this, we went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside. And I think from that story, it's very clear that Kim was tipping off the paparazzi, so there would be photos of them together. And if you didn't already know, unless someone is like incredibly famous, if they're a paparazzi when they are out, they definitely tipped off that paparazzi. And at number 9, Jon Hamm. The Mad Men star definitely has some choice words for the Kardashians, and based off what he said, it's clear he does not like the family and doesn't approve of how they rose to fame. With him telling LUK, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupidity is certainly celebrated. Being an idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you're rewarded significantly. It's celebrated. It doesn't make sense to me. So clearly he doesn't like the reality TV stars whatsoever and doesn't like how our society praises socialites like Paris Hilton and the Kardashians. And like, I kinda get where he's going. Like, you know, he has some valid points. And at number 8, Kristin Cavallari. Kristin Cavallari has a very interesting relationship with the Kar Jenner clan. It all started when Kristin dated Brody Jenner, and through that relationship she also became friends with the Kardashians. But after Brody and Kristin broke up, there was tension between Kristin and Kourtney Kardashian. After Kourtney caught Scott out with Kristin while they were in an off period. And after that, Kristin called out the family for using that information as a publicity stunt to get viewers to their show. And allegedly, after rumors broke that Kristin and Scott were having an affair, the Kardashians refused to deny it and instead waited to address it on their show, leaving Kristin looking like, you know, the bad, terrible other woman when it just wasn't even true. More than a little shady if you ask me. And at number 7, Barack Obama. Former President Barack Obama also couldn't hold his tongue when talking about the famous family, and it's definitely quite the compliment when the president is speaking about you. Or is it? The former president was talking about the changing dynamics of the American dream and how it's shifting with time, saying there was not that window into the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Kids weren't monitoring every day what Kim Kardashian was wearing or where Kanye West was going on vacation, and thinking that somehow was the mark of success. And ouch, here it's pretty obvious he was throwing some major shade their way. And he doesn't seem to like how they are now the standard for what success is. And apparently Kanye West did not like those comments and actually fired back at the president. But also, since Obama was a former president, you know, I trust his opinion and judgment way more than Kanye's. And at number 6, Kris Humphries. Kris Humphries was someone who probably challenged the Kardashian family the most and exposed secrets about them I'm sure they did not want out. Kim and Kris got married in one of the most lavish televised ceremonies ever, but famously after only 72 days, the couple split because Kim was having second thoughts. But based off how much content their reality shows got because of that relationship, then the breakup, Kris called Kim out for fraud, arguing that the whole relationship was just a publicity stunt. And their divorce was so messy it lasted 2 whole years before it was finalized. But during the massive trial, Kris exposed that a lot of the Kardashian show was scripted, and that the show purposefully made him look bad. Like when him and Scott threw a party in one episode while the girls were out of town, and they looked really horrible for going behind their backs when they told them not to have the party. The whole thing was actually just a huge sham, with Kim and Kourtney knowing about the party and acting like they didn't know for TV, in turn making Kris look like a terrible husband when it literally wasn't like that at all. Halfway at number 5, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson revealed on a radio show that she was presented an opportunity to present an award with Kendall and Kylie Jenner, but Wilson ended up turning it down, with her saying in the interview, "I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the recent VMAs and said no. It's not that you hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I've worked really hard to get where I've gotten to." And even though a lot of people who dislike the Kardashians share the same sentiments, Oprah Winfrey actually came to their defense against Wilson, if you can believe it, with Oprah saying that she couldn't believe how hard the family works, referencing when she filmed the family for Oprah's show, with crews taping the family for 7 hours straight, and then they filmed more of their reality show after. So as we all know, the Kardashian family really works very hard, even though it doesn't seem like they do too much. And at number 4, Bette Midler. After Kim uploaded her incredibly famous nude selfie where she covered her, nether regions with just like black bars, the internet went ablaze talking about it. One of the people that didn't hold their tongue was Bette Midler, who tweeted out, "Kim Kardashian tweeted a nude selfie today. If Kim wants us to see a part of her we've never seen, she's gonna have to swallow the camera." Which, come on, you have to admit, it's pretty hilarious. Like, even if you like the Kardashians, like, it's a good tweet. As a clapback, Kim tweeted out that it was past Bette's bedtime and that she was a fake friend. And Bet responded back, "Looks like anyone can take a selfie, but not everyone can take a joke." And then she lightened the tension by posting her own nude. When talking about the feud later, Bet had no hard feelings and said she takes Twitter pretty lightly and hoping that Kim did the same. Hopefully Kim wasn't actually too peeved about that. I mean, come on, it was clearly a joke. I don't know. And at number 3, Wendy Williams. If you watch Wendy's show, which I definitely do on occasion, she spills the tea like nobody else, then you know she does not like the Kardashians and is always very blunt when talking about them. But Wendy got the spot of a Kardashian hater when she made some shady comments about Kim after her robbery incident. And when talking about the incident in Paris, Wendy said, "I would hope that she's not making any part of this up for dramatic effect. Because this family, you know, they're kind of soulless. You can't believe everything that you hear." But this was very, very upsetting. And although I do not agree with Wendy at all that the Paris incident was a publicity stunt, a lot of people did feel that the incident could have been exaggerated by the family for views, with people citing numerous times in the past that this has happened with the family. And again, I do not agree, but I mean, she just brought it up as kind of a possibility, and obviously, she loves to shade them whenever she can. And at number 2, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna is another Kardashian ex who was ousted from the family after her and Rob's relationship ended. And you know that whatever went down was bad, because the family is still nice to Tristan and not Chyna, even though Tristan is arguably way worse and embarrassed them so much more. The first of the feud was surrounding the fact that Kylie started dating Tyga, who was Chyna's ex. Then Chyna started dating Rob. And then the two got engaged and then pregnant very quickly. But after they had Dream, the whole thing fell apart and Chyna and the Kardashians were facing off on social media. Chyna even filed a lawsuit against the family, claiming that they stopped her show Rob and Chyna from getting a second season. A judge dismissed that case, but Chyna still shades the Kardashians whenever she can. And at number 1, Anna Wintour. This last one is something that I had no idea existed, but it's probably the shadiest one of all. So Vogue is one of the most prestigious magazines to be on the cover of, and Kim Kardashian and Kanye West were put on the cover in a very controversial move by the magazine's editor, Anna Wintour. When talking about the criticism, she noted that it would be a misstep to ignore the couple's influence, and she made the choice to lead and deal with the backlash rather than follow. And all of that praise to the couple is, you know, all well and good, until she gives them quite a backhanded compliment, saying, "I think if we just remain deeply tasteful and just put deeply tasteful people on the cover, it would be a rather boring magazine. Nobody would talk about us." And although I totally get what she's like trying to say, calling the couple, you know, deeply untasteful is definitely more than a little shady. But I mean, if anyone can shade anyone, it's Anna Wintour. She can shade whoever she wants. Alright guys, let me know what you're thinking about this one below. Which celebrity do you think was the shadiest, and how much do you trust the family? As you guys know, I personally love them so much, but I can also see times when it seemed that getting publicity is all that they really cared about. And at number 10, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna's 2017 lawsuit against the Kardashian family will finally be taking place after years of stalling. In her $100 million suit, Chyna accused the family of prematurely ending her reality show, Rob and Chyna, and damaging her reputation by claims they made in the media. The planned 10-day trial comes years after the initial filing, and names Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Rob Kardashian, and Kylie Jenner as being responsible for the demise of the show. Chyna also lists Ryan Seacrest and other producers on the witness list. Chyna claims that Rob and his family wanted to destroy her and her reputation after the breakup. Chyna states that the couple was in the process of filming season 2 of the show, but it was abruptly halted. The Kardashians claim the show ended because Rob and Chyna split, and because Chyna was physically harmful to Rob during their relationship. And at number 9, Kim Kardashian. In May of 2021, it was leaked that Kim Kardashian was being sued by her staff for unpaid wages. And the more you learn, the crazier the claims seem. 7 members of her staff are suing Kim for not providing the workers with meal breaks and failing to cover any expenses incurred on the job. The employees claim that when they were hired, they were told they would be considered full-time employees. But after they started working, they were labeled independent contractors and treated as such. This meant the staff were not given any benefits of full-time employment. Kim is also being sued for, quote, failure to pay overtime wages and for unfair and unlawful business practices. Although Kim's reps claim it's not her fault, as she hired a a third-party vendor to handle the maintenance on her property, and they should be suing this vendor, not her. In at number 8, Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner has gotten a lot of backlash because of her tequila company 818. And now some of this backlash has turned into a lawsuit. 818 is being sued by competitor brand Tequila 512 for allegedly ripping off 512's branding. 512 claims in their lawsuit that it's a cheap trick for 818 to copy its shtick by using an area code as its name. 818 is named after the San Fernando Valley, and 512 is Austin. 512 also claims the design and color scheme of the bottles was intentionally made similar to confuse customers. There's even a strange twist in this suit that involves Kim Kardashian. In Kim's mobile app, Kim Kardashian Hollywood, there's an emoji designed for Kendall's 818 tequila brand. But this emoji looks exactly like the 512 brand. Whether the mistake was intentional or not, it gives way to the theory that people easily confuse the two brands. And at number 7, Tristan Thompson. So we all know that Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe Kardashian a lot. So much so that when any woman comes forward claiming that she hooked up with Tristan, the media generally believes her. However, when Kimberly Alexander accused Tristan of cheating and fathering her child, he took her to court for libel, claiming that was a lie. In the end, the test results determined that it was a lie, and Tristan was awarded $50,000 in damages. She will also have to pay close to $3,000 in court costs. Plus, she will be forced to pay 10% interest until the full amount is paid off. Tristan was seeking $100,000 in damages at the start of the trial, claiming the false allegations he fathered her child hurt his reputation and cost him endorsement deals because companies saw him as a brand hazard. The judge halved the damages because Tristan didn't specifically lay out which endorsements he lost due to Alexander's allegations. And at number 6, Kris Jenner. In 2020, Kris Jenner was hit with an insane lawsuit that claimed that she was inappropriate with a security guard that was hired to watch over her and her family. Kourtney was also involved in this suit, and the bodyguard, Mark McWilliams, claims that both women were inappropriate with him. McWilliams claimed that after being hired in 2017, he became subject to a quote pattern of unwanted and unwelcome sexual advances and other harassing misconduct from Kris. Also claiming she made suggestive comments towards him about his appearance and asked him private details of his life. He also claimed that Kris massaged his neck, shoulders, arms, and back without his consent, among other physical contact. Kris's lawyer, Marty Singer, tells TMZ, quote, Kris categorically denies ever behaving inappropriately toward Mark McWilliams. The security guard worked outside the house and he never even went into Kris's home. The Kardashian lawyers claim that McWilliams is a disgruntled employee who was fired after being caught sleeping on the job. Halfway at number 5, Kylie Jenner. Kylie and her beauty brand were dragged into court after she was sued by Seed Beauty, the company that helped her formulate her Kylie Cosmetics products. The lawsuit came about after Kylie sold a majority stake in her company for $600 million to Coty. Seed Beauty believes that the new Coty deal is opening the door for Coty to steal Seed's formulations for themselves. In the documents obtained by TMZ, Seed says they've been providing their valuable recipe to makeup success to Kylie for years now, and with this new deal, their formulations are at risk of being distributed to Coty, their competition. Sources say the lawsuit is a little ridiculous since the Kardashians are most likely not successful because of their products, rather their insane social media presence. In at number 4, Kylie Jenner. Another lawsuit involving Kylie Jenner is actually on behalf of her daughter, Stormy Webster. Kylie went forward with the suit after a company called Business Moves Consulting filed to trademark, quote, Stormy Couture a month after Kylie and Travis Scott welcomed their baby, Stormy Webster, seemingly trying to take advantage of her name, which is incredibly unique. Kylie also filed her own trademarks for Stormy, including one for Stormy World. But after doing so, she was hit with a lawsuit from the same company, Business Moves, because they claimed that they filed the trademark first for Stormy Couture, and people would be confused. Jenner's asking the trademark office to cancel the other company's trademark because it seems like they only got the trademark to capitalize off of her daughter's name. Kylie says Stormy has, quote, achieved fame in her own right, and points out that her Stormy World birthday parties have been covered by major media outlets like Vogue. As of now, it doesn't seem like there's been any updates on the case. In at number 3, Kanye West. Kanye West was caught up in a lawsuit when a former associate of his was sued for forging Ye's signature. West's former friend and good music associate, Malik Yusuf, was sued by company Gentle Monster for claiming that Kanye West would create a promotional video for this company. Yusuf allegedly scammed the company out of $2.5 million. The company says that Yusuf even set up a meeting between Kanye and a rep for the brand, making it seem like Ye was on board for the whole thing. Kanye allegedly had no clue there was any type of business deal in place. Kanye was also not the only celebrity in this scheme. He also claimed Pharrell, Jaden Smith, and others would help out with this project. Apparently, the scam was an elaborate 9-month plan that included forged signatures and fake invoices to make the documents seem legit. And at number 2, Kim Kardashian. App developer David Liebenson is suing Kim Kardashian for $100 million over her very successful Kimoji app. The developer claims that he and Kim made a joint deal to work on the project together, but she left him high and dry. The plaintiff claims that he and his business partners created an app called Censor Out that caught the attention of Kim, and after she got in touch, they decided to partner on Kimojis. In the legal documents, Kim agreed to give him and his team 60% of the project. But right around when Kim filed for the trademark, she decided to back out of their deal. He's suing Kim for at least $100 million for breach of contract, fraud, and for the profits he believes he's lost out of by being left out of this Kimoji partnership. And finally, number 1, Kanye West. Kanye West's clothing company, Yeezy Apparel, was sued by Jordan Outdoor Enterprises after the company believed that Ye ripped off their design. Specifically, the company believes that Kanye copied their camo hoodie, camo thigh-high boots, cargo pants, hooded bomber jackets, shirts, and boots. The lawsuit claims that Jordan has distinctive markings on its Realtree line, and Kanye's companies ripped them off. To make things even shadier, the suit alleges that a rep from Yeezy contacted Jordan about using his camo patterns. But when Jordan said that Yeezy had to license these items, Kanye's reps all of a sudden stopped responding. Then, surprise surprise, Yeezy comes out with very similar camo patterns. Jordan Outdoor Enterprises is suing for damages, but also wants to stop Yeezy from selling the products in the future and to turn over any unsold inventory. In a statement, Kanye's camp said, quote, "There's nothing original or protectable about the Jordan outdoor gear in question. It's unclear if this lawsuit has been resolved." And at number 10, Kim Kardashian's tape. This is truly the scandal that started it all, and the Kardashians arguably would not be where they are today without the release of this tape. Right before Keeping Up with the Kardashians was set to air on E!, the intimate tape of Kim and her then boyfriend Ray J was leaked to the public and went insanely viral. The Kardashians got in a legal battle to try and get it under control, but it didn't work, and the tape was eventually sold to a media company and released. Kim said about the tape in a 2012 interview, quote, "I'm not naive to the fact that that's pretty much how I was introduced to the world. It was a negative way, so I felt like I really had to work 10 times harder to get people to see the real me. I felt humiliated." In the years since its release, it's been long rumored that the Kardashian family leaked the tape themselves to drum up publicity and a storyline for the show. And if that's the case, it totally worked. And at number 9, Kylie Jenner's lips. Kylie Jenner was once considered the ugly duckling of the Jenner sisters, and she was not treated the same way as the rest of her family. Because of her insecurities, she's gotten a lot of procedures and has become unrecognizable from her former self. However, following all these procedures, she is now considered one of the most beautiful women in the world. Kylie's first procedure was lip injections, and it was hard to deny that there was a huge difference in the size of her lips basically overnight. At first, she denied it and claimed it was all lip liner. But the public isn't stupid, and we all knew it was a lie. Then later in 2017, she decided to fess up to the change and admitted she got lip filler because of an insecurity about the size of her lips. Later, she turned all the talk about her lips into a billion-dollar business, selling her Kylie lip kits, which was the first of its kind. And at number 8, Kim and Chris Humphrey's 72-day marriage. Kim's lavish wedding was considered the wedding of the century, and there was even a 2-part special created on E! To celebrate the big day. But since so much content was created out of the relationship, many questioned if the whole thing was just for show. Those accusations got even worse when it was revealed that Kim filed for divorce only 72 days after their lavish wedding. Chris even sued Kim at one point, claiming the relationship was fraudulent just for press. However, Kim clarified on a May 2017 appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen that she knew the marriage was doomed from the beginning. Quote, "I just thought, holy shit, I'm 30 years old, I better get this together, I better get married." And at number 7, Lamar Odom cheated on Khloe. This one truly breaks my heart because Khloe and Lamar were one of my favorite couples of all time. But sadly, this was when Khloe's bad luck with men would really start. It was revealed that during their marriage, Lamar cheated on Khloe countless times. They were married from 2009 to 2016, and in that time, Lamar claims he slept with hundreds of women. He claimed later that he had a sex addiction. Khloe shared her thoughts on the news in a 2016 interview with Howard Stern. Khloe said, quote, "I was genuinely blown away. Like, when did he fit that in? I don't know." Then in an interview Lamar did in 2017, he revealed that after he got married to Khloe, women came out of the woodwork to try and be with him. Lamar added, quote, "If there's one thing I regret when I was married, it was having multiple affairs with different women. That wasn't the stand-up thing to do." Lamar later said he would get back with Khloe in a heartbeat. And at number 6, Kendall Jenner's Pepsi ad. Being in a Pepsi ad is a really high honor, and tons of celebrities like Michael Jackson and Cindy Crawford had the honor to be a part of one. So when the opportunity was presented to Kendall Jenner, she jumped at the chance. But it ended up causing the biggest scandal of her entire career. She was a part of a protest-themed ad in 2017 because at that time the Black Lives Matter movement was being heavily discussed in the media, and there was a lot of tension between protesters and law enforcement. But of course, using an important social movement to sell a can of soda rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and Pepsi and Kendall got tons of backlash. Pepsi pulled the commercial and issued an apology, while Jenner told Vogue in March of 2018 that her quote intention was not to hurt anyone, but it's still a huge stain on her reputation. Halfway number 5, Kendall and Kylie's t-shirts. One of the many business ventures the Kardashians developed was a clothing line for Kendall and Kylie, simply named after themselves. The clothing line was pretty successful until the girls released an incredibly insensitive t-shirt showcasing the faces of deceased artists like the Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur. After the release in 2017, Biggie's mother, Valletta Wallace, called the sisters out on Instagram, writing, quote, "The disrespect of these girls to not even reach out to me or anyone connected to the estates baffles me." Paris Jackson also commented on how tone-deaf the release was. Paris took to Twitter and wrote in part, quote, "As a huge fan of Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Floyd, I mean these bands literally helped shape who I am today. I can't condone this fashion. Legends like these who completely changed our world today, not just the music world, should be respected and honored, not turned into this." A photographer who shot one of the images also filed a lawsuit against the Jenners, but it was dropped in April of 2018, and the sisters pulled the shirts almost immediately. And at number 4, Kim's blackface scandal. Cultural appropriation and blackfishing are something the Kardashians are called out for pretty often. The worst backlash on this subject was when Kim released a campaign for KKW Beauty, and fans accused her of blackface. This is because in the photo, her skin color was significantly darker than what we usually see. Kim immediately took down the photos and apologized. She later told the New York Times, quote, "I would obviously never want to offend anyone. I used an amazing photographer and a team of people. I was really tan when we shot the images, and it might be that contrast was off." Kim then re-edited the photos to be more natural, and the launch went off without a hitch. And at number 3, Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe. Sadly, cheating is something that Khloe has had to deal with throughout her entire relationship with Tristan. At first, when they got together, everyone was thrilled and he seemed like a great guy. But then, right before Khloe was set to give birth in 2018, leaked videos showed that Tristan was out cheating on Khloe at a club. At the time, she was 9 months pregnant, and sadly she learned that he was nothing but a cheater who was not ready for commitment. A source close to Thompson told us exclusively, quote, "None of his friends are surprised by this and they all know that he cheats." Then more photos came out showing him taking a girl into his hotel room late at night, meaning this was clearly a pattern and not the first time. Khloe decided to stay with Tristan for the sake of her family, but this would not be the last time that he publicly embarrassed her. And at number 2, Tristan cheats on Khloe again. The phrase "once a cheater, always a cheater" is most fitting here, because after getting back with Khloe, Tristan cheated once again. To make matters worse, he cheated with close family friend of the Kardashians, Jordyn Woods. After this, Khloe was quick to call it quits. A source said, quote, "This time it hurts even more because the person who it was with is someone who knows very much what Khloe has gone through in the past year." A second insider said that Thompson is, quote, "just a cheater and doesn't care about anyone besides himself, his wants and his needs in the moment." Jordyn went on Red Table Talk after the scandal and confessed they did kiss, but nothing more. Then unfortunately, after some time apart, Tristan and Khloe got back together in August of 2020, but have split again since. And finally at number 1, Kanye's presidential run. This scandal is unfortunate because at first it had nothing to do with the Kardashians, but during one of Kanye's campaign rallies, he spilled some major secrets about his relationship with Kim. The worst was when Kanye exposed that he and Kim almost terminated the pregnancy with their first child, North. A source told Us Weekly that the Skims founder was, quote, "deeply upset with Kanye for talking about their personal life and for making matters that are very personal to them and their family public." Then Kanye went off on Twitter, revealing even more secrets and even accusing Kim of cheating with rapper Meek Mill. 6 months later, Kim filed for divorce. Apparently, the pair had been living separate lives for many months, and Kim was just done dealing with Kanye's unpredictable behavior. So that's all for the list, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. But before I go, I'm gonna shout out comments from Secrets Hollywood Doesn't Want You to Know Part 2. Fiona said, "Poor animals." Yeah, it's really sad to think about what happens, but when you see some of the things that happens in these movies, there's just no way it could be CGI or fake. It's like, wow, like a real animal must have gotten hurt. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore, but definitely in like older, like, you know, 80s, 90s movies, it's gonna be tough to watch from now on. The man has said, "Hello Mackenzie, how are you? I'm happy to see you again. I'm doing very well. I'm so excited for Christmas. I've blown my budget shopping. I've spent so much shopping for Christmas presents, but I'm very excited to receive and give and do all that fun stuff." MLG Gamer said, "Yes, I've heard about the animal cruelty because apparently way back when they used to do a thing where horses were tripped during certain chase scenes in movies. Obviously it's gone better over time, but it still exists." Yeah, I can see that, where they like tripped suddenly during a shot. Like I can think of like horse racing movies. How do they get a horse to just suddenly trip out of nowhere? They might have had to trip them. It's really, really sad.
At number 10, Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably the most famous of the Kardashian sisters and also seems to be the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and recently even hopped on the podcast train. And that's all on top of filming their new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all that by herself? She pays people to do it for her, duh. Kardashian has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than her. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by their nanny, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table away from them at the restaurant, known to make her nannies walk at least 10 feet away from her at all times. If they walk near her or attempt to walk side by side, apparently she blows up on them behind closed doors. Needless to say, she has had many nannies over the years and has probably made them all cry at least once. At number 9, Kourtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Kourtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a different grocery store while she was shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast, because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. One time, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to treat people, she berated the nanny, telling her she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Because it makes sense to blame the woman you're paying to raise your kid instead of the kid herself to prevent future incidents. At number 8, toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. I'm not sure Forbes knows what self-made means, but this collaboration would allow Jenner's brand, previously only available online and at pop-up stores, to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000+ stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. Many employees at the factory that mixed and packaged her makeup and beauty products have been reported that they were never given proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and face completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines and mild chemical burns on their hands. I know they say beauty is pain, but I don't think this is what they meant. At number 7, Victoria. Victoria Valero has been Kylie Jenner's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when Valero was interning as a personal assistant for Kris Jenner. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager and soon after became her personal assistant. Victoria and Jenner became very close over the years, and she was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter Stormi. You would think with being so close to the family, it would be through thick and thin, right? Well, all good things must come to an end as Victoria quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had quit to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being around that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff. Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life. Booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this is stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie even having Victoria pull out a stool and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as soon as possible. At number 6, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup artists, Samuel Rhoda, with the post redirecting fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asked to donate money to cover his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman who got a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women list was asking her fans to donate some of their money. Why would Kylie herself not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't know each other on a personal level. She had worked with him a few years prior and thought he was a sweetheart. Supposedly, her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money to most of us, but for Jenner, that's like $5. Something tells me the surgery would be a lot more than that. This is just another instance proving Kylie is the worst, because I know she would drop more than that on a purse. At number 5, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claimed that Kardashian failed to pay them overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks. The employees also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. Then, when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim argued that she couldn't be held responsible because most of her employees were apparently hired and paid through third-party companies, meaning Kim herself was technically not their direct employer and therefore cannot be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, Kardashian would have used her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff, and maybe she wouldn't have gotten sued by them. At number 4, Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and were officially married in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye's mental health was slowly slipping. He began posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets, as well as constantly sharing his political views and publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting SNL in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson while still married to Kanye. We'll cover their side in another entry. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show and seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently, only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. Following their divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly try to help Ye understand why his views and words were wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan and for Kanye. At number 3, they don't pay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait the family shares as a unit. They don't pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages and no overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses including gas, food, rent. Everything is out of the employee's pocket with zero money coming back. To make matters worse, the Kardashians would not pay them on set paydays, meaning you just got paid when you got paid and had to deal with it. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. While they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if the staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. At number 2, paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on a reality show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensation to Jenner, she responded with, "The company doesn't really have a budget right now, so we're going to have to pay you in exposure." Like, hey, that's cool, but you can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner, nor is it a currency accepted at most gas stations or banks. And by exposure, she meant Andre's name being in a small print underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take that exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. And at number 1, lied about their wealth. Oh, not enough proof for ya? Well, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. While it turns out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. million. This was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turns out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought. As it was uncovered, Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for the company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for the public. Mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom.
Number 10. Grave shopping. Window shopping is not weird. We all love to mindlessly walk around a store that we know well and good we will be purchasing nothing from. But the Kardashian family doesn't go to Hot Topic, or maybe they do. I live in Toronto, I've never seen them. Instead, this family likes to window shop for coffins and grave plots. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, momager Kris decided that the best gift she could get for her kids was a nice, comfortable place to keep their lifeless husks tucked away when they pass. Kris and the crew spent the day trying to decide what model of coffin they wanted to purchase, with Kris going so far as to getting into a coffin to see if it was cozy. Hey Kris, if you're trying to get cozy in a coffin, you're still alive! Bang on that lid, man! On top of shopping for physical coffins, she also took the kids on a tour of a graveyard that seemed to boast some pretty stellar plots. There is such a serious conversation over the choice of in the ground or in a mausoleum made of marble. Yeah, which one do you think they picked? Number 9. Mystery meat. Following a brief discussion on the practice of eating the stuff that comes out after we're born, yep, that's a thing apparently, Kim and Kourtney decided to hatch a plot where they would trick their family into thinking they had just eaten placenta. There, I'm only saying it once, from now on it'll be called the stuff. The sisters go through an elaborate preparation and brag to their family about the mystery meat that they had purchased. As the evening went on, they continued to plant the seeds right up until the forks were plunged deep into the meat. Following the meal, they decided that it was the perfect time to tell their family they had just dined on the stuff. Of course, their immediate reaction is disgust and anger at the same time. Don't eat mystery meat, guys, especially if it's cooked by Kim Kardashian. That could be a person for all you know. They let the prank play out for some time, with Caitlyn Jenner almost blowing her chunks all over the table. After a few moments of panic, they let it slip that the meat that they were eating had actually been brisket, but needless to say, Kim's no longer in charge of family dinner night. Number 8. The Pepsi commercial. Sponsored brand deals can mean a lot of money for the people involved. Just look at every cologne on the planet. They hire someone to stand on a beach for them for like 30 seconds and make $1 million. Around 2017, Kendall Jenner decided to partner with the soda brand Pepsi to create a commercial that would act as both an ad and a PSA against hate. The commercial consisted of hundreds of people from different parts of the world drinking Pepsi, and eventually everyone comes together on the streets on what appeared to be New York, I'm not sure. Kendall looks to the crowd, wipes off her makeup, and follows suit. And the cringe comes when the crowd of people appear to be at a standoff with the police. Kendall walks through the crowd and hands an officer a can of Pepsi. He sips it, and the crowd cheers before they swarm the cops, who are suddenly just cool with everything that's going on. The ad was meant to be a political statement following the passing of several African American men and women in the United States, aiming to bring people together, which it did, but for the wrong reasons. The world collectively cringed at this absolute mess, forcing Kendall to drop an apology video on that season's premiere of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She may have apologized, but we will still never forget this strange brand collaboration. Number 7. The birthday suit shoot. Momager Kris Jenner has been a big part of the family unit for a long time. In fact, she's one of the main reasons that her kids are such good liars. The older we get, the more we clamor for our glory days. With Kris, she decided she wanted to recapture that youthful image in a birthday suit swimsuit at her home. During the episode titled Let It Go, the Kardashian kids enter their backyard only to discover that their mother is taking rather spicy photos in a see-through swimsuit. Not something that anyone wants to see their mom doing. Kris was quick to tell the girls there was nothing wrong with the shoot and that she was simply trying to show off her curves, but her clan wanted none of it and instead let their mother know exactly how they felt. The momager just continues to take photos despite her kids now being present at the home, and at one point Kim literally tells her mom that she's scarring them for life. The moment was more awkward than anything else, but certainly shows just how little regard Kris actually has for her kids. Number 6. Selfie! If you're a Kardashian, any moment is a good photo op, whether it's on a luxurious boat in the Caribbean or in an SUV on the way to jail. Anytime is selfie time. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the crew were on their way to drop Khloe off at prison after she violated her probation. Things in the car were intense, but Kim decided to diffuse the tension by snapping a couple of candid pics of herself and her sisters. The entire ride was filled filled with cringy moments, including Chris suggesting that they all go get some pre-jail IHOP and chill out. The funniest thing about the moment is that Khloe seems pretty calm and collected considering she's going to jail, while her mother is just furious from start to finish. Needless to say, if your sibling is being arrested, don't take family photos on the way to the prison. Number 5. Shut your mouth. When Scott Disick was still with Kourtney Kardashian, he was a regular wild man on the show. He would regularly get into situations that made him look like the absolute worst, which he was. During one particularly rough moment on the show, Scott was accompanied by the rest of the crew to Las Vegas, Nevada for some wholesome family fun. Nah, I'm just kidding, they drank no-no juice a lot. At one point, Scott becomes so intoxicated that he loses control of his emotions and berates a waiter for simply doing his job. He then proceeds to give him a tip by jamming $100 in his mouth. The waiter pushed back and walks away, which is probably a good move. If Scott Disick shoved $100 in my mouth, well, I'm poor, I'd probably take it and spend it on my hydro bill. Scott is one of the messiest members of the family, despite not being a blood-born Kardashian, but thankfully Kourtney eventually came to her senses and dumped him like yesterday's lunch. Number 4. Kylie's billions. Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, which was like a beauty salon company. It turned out that that wasn't actually the case though. Jenner allegedly sold half of her cosmetics company, Kylie Cosmetics, to the beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. Now this was huge and considered to be one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, maybe try not to lie, especially to Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turns out that the cosmetic brand was actually much smaller than originally thought, and it was uncovered that Jenner only actually made about $314 million after taxes from the company. The revelation was briefly covered on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but it was ultimately edited to make the situation look less severe than it actually was. The reality was Kylie was lying about her money, tricking people who wanted to invest, and let's not even start with where her cosmetics come from. It's understaffed factories with non-protective gear. Good luck, Kylie. Number 3. 2020. Who cares? In 2020, while most of the world was shut down and we were all forced to stay in our houses, the rich and powerful were living it up, especially the Kardashian family. Despite the entire world throwing a close sign over their doors, Kim and her sisters decided they cared more about seeing their buddies than saving the world. Kim rented a private island for her 40th birthday, an entire island for about 30 people. Yep, that makes sense. Kim decided to post photos and videos from the event, which were of course met with immediate backlash. Kim was quick to defend herself by claiming that every person there had stayed inside and away from people for at least 2 weeks. They all tested negative, blah blah blah. In her post, she claimed that the event was to help herself and her friends feel normal during a particularly hard time in history. Hey man, I would've liked to do that too, but I don't have any K's in my name. Not only did Kim throw a lavish private party, but her sister Kendall did the exact same thing, only much worse. Kendall decided it would be an awesome idea to throw a private rooftop Halloween party in Hollywood, California, and invited not 30, but 100 of her closest friends. Again, the crew claimed that everyone attending the event was tested and good to go, but the reality was nobody knows what went down or where they came from. Most of them probably showed up in a helicopter or something. Freaking famous jerks. Number 2. Cut the cucumber. Alright, anybody who's ever made a meal has probably chopped a vegetable once or twice. For me, it was only once, never again. For Kendall Jenner, it seems like the answer is she's never done it. During an episode of the latest version of the reality show, The Kardashians, Kendall was shot attempting to cut a cucumber, and I do mean attempting. Like in the footage, she moves her hands around in a weird way that makes her like chop the cucumber backwards. I don't know. This woman has clearly never taken a single cooking class in her life. And I'd like to thank my high school cooking teacher, Mr. Kenzel, for being so good at his job and preventing me from looking like this. Seriously, she was holding the already cut side of the cucumber trying to grip it. Like, just watch one YouTube tutorial. The moment went viral online and she received massive amounts of online hate, with many asking the question why she was trying to make herself a snack. Like, we all know that these people have a literal closet full of chefs waiting to be activated and put into cook mode. Next time, Kendall should just go on Amazon and buy the automatic cucumber slicer for 3 easy payments of $99.99. And at number 1, girls don't work these days. In March 2022, the Kardashian clan were doing a profile for the outlet Variety. When the question was asked, what advice do you have for women aiming to be entrepreneurs? Kim decided to declare that women simply needed to get off their bums and work. Nobody wants to work these days. The tone-deaf statement was met with massive amounts of backlash. Considering Kim comes from a long line of wealthy people, it's no surprise that she would receive such public hate. If I was born rich, I'd probably be telling people to work harder too, but like, Kim gets paid to basically look good and be on TV, that's it. Oh yeah, definitely hard work being done there. Oh, so exhausting.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have Sarah Michelle Gellar. Back in 2014, Sarah Michelle Gellar definitely became Buffy the Kimye Slayer when she threw some serious shade at Kim Kardashian in Kanye West's first ever Vogue cover. Shortly after Anna Wintour approved April issue was revealed, Sarah would head over to her Twitter to say, well, guess I'm canceling my Vogue subscription. Who is with me? Well, many fans agreed with Sarah's tweet, including me. Kim Kardashian's best friend, Jonathan Schunab, would retweet Gellar's post and he would say, do you even matter? Buffy fanatics would then even start to argue that she very much does. After much of a debate, even Anna Wintour would come out to defend her controversial choice to place the reality TV star and the rapper on her issue cover in the editor's letter by saying, as for the cover, my opinion is that both are charming and touching, and it is, I should add, entirely our idea to do it. You may have read that Kanye begged me to put his fiancée on Vogue's cover. He did nothing of sort, but if you have to come out to claim something like this, it's most likely it was true. Coming in at number 9, we have Jonah Hill. In 2011, Jonah Hill would end up slamming the Kardashian family in an interview, but even after admitting he hated everything the family represents, he still can't stop watching the show. During the interview, Jonah would count himself among the ranks of those who are still keeping up with the Kardashians, but only with great reluctance. And he even was too duped by Kim's wedding, and he would even state that the show took money and attention from people in the television industry who actually worked to create compelling original programming. Also, in the interview, he would go on to note that the whole show was a giant joke, and then he went on to say, the truth is, I have friends who work in TV, and Kardashians get higher ratings than their TV shows. That people actually work hard on writing and creating, trying to tell their stories. The fact that Kardashians could be more popular than a show like Mad Men is disgusting. But that doesn't mean he doesn't watch, as he would then go on to say, I can't even understand it, so I watch it. I think it's funny and I definitely enjoy it in a making fun of sort of way. But where does the line sort of end? When do I stop making fun of it and become an actual fan? And the truth is, you never actually do. Even fans aren't fans. We just find the drama so fantasizing because what kind of family actually has so much drama going on in their lives 24/7? It's just not healthy. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Lily Reinhart. Lily Reinhart spoke out against Kim after the Skims owner admitted to undergoing a restrictive diet to fit into a vintage Marilyn Monroe gown for the 2022 Met Gala, after Kim boasted about her losing 16 pounds to fit into the iconic gown worn by Marilyn during the John F. Kennedy's birthday party. She was able to lose the weight in 3 weeks. Lily would then take to her Instagram story to call Kim out by saying, to walk a red carpet and do an interview saying how starving you are because you haven't eaten carbs in the last month, all to fit in an effing dress, so wrong, so effed on hundreds of levels. To openly admit to starving yourself for the sake of the Met Gala, when you know very well that millions of young men and women are looking up to you and listening to your every word. The ignorance is otherworldly and disgusting. Please stop supporting these stupid, harmful celebrities whose entire image revolves around their bodies. Lily then noted, I'm generally not an angry person, but I swear to God the toxicity of this industry sometimes really gets to me, and I have to head to my Instagram story to rant, to release my rage. Number 7, Michael Bublé. When Michael Bublé was performing his iHeartRadio live concert in 2011, he made his feelings about Kim Kardashian crystal clear when he said, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special guest. Please welcome Kim Kardashian. But after a short pause, Bublé then shot back, nah, I'm just effing with you. That B ain't coming on my stage, before transitioning into his cover of Nina Simone's classic Feeling Good, which he said was dedicated to Chris Humphries. Later he would explain that he hated Kim because she hurt Chris and he wished that she hurt him instead. Michael's diss wouldn't be the only backlash Kim would experience after she filed divorce from Chris after only being married to him for 72 days. The reality TV star even had to enlist in a celebrity lawyer, Marty Singer, to fight back against Jonathan Jackson, who claims that she staged her wedding among other things. Number 6, Daniel Craig. It's no lie that the Kardashian family has made millions from living their lives in the public eye thanks to their reality TV show. But one person who is less than impressed by the Kardashian family is Daniel Craig, who launched an astonishing, foul-mouthed rant about the family in an interview with GQ magazine back in 2011. The James Bond star even labeled the clan as effing idiots and criticized those who sell themselves and then make demands about their private life, when he said, I think there's a lot to be said for keeping your own counsel. It's not about being afraid to go public about your emotions or about who you are and what you stand for, but to sell it off, it's gone. You can't buy it back. You can't buy back your privacy. Oh, I want to be alone? F you. We've been in your living room. We were at your birth. You filmed it for us and showed us the placenta, and now you want some privacy. Referring to the Kardashians, Daniel would then also note that while the clan is worth millions, he doesn't think they were badly off to start in the beginning because of their looks. And then he would go on to say, you see that? And you think what? You mean all I have to do is behave like an effing idiot on television and then you'll pay me millions? I'm not judging it, well I am obviously. So the moral of the story is, if you want to be famous one day, maybe take some notes. Number 5, we have Rebel Wilson. In 2015, Rebel Wilson would slam the Kardashian family's meteoric rise to fame in a candid live interview. In the interview, the Pitch Perfect actress said she was frustrated that she had to work so much harder to get to where she is and where she wanted to be by saying, it's not that I hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I worked really hard to get to where I've gotten to. Rebel didn't even want to be on the stage with the family's 2 youngest siblings at the 2015 MTV Music Video Awards when she said, I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the latest VMAs, but I said no, I'd rather do it myself. She then went on to compare Kim Kardashian to her own acting experience by saying they aren't really about talent. I mean, how Kim got famous was from an X tape, and I went to acting school and worked really hard. Number 4, Reese Witherspoon. In 2011, America's sweetheart Reese Witherspoon was really ready to talk some trash when she went on a rant against certain breed of celebrities when she was at the MTV Movie Awards. When accepting a Generation Award from Robert Pattinson, the actress railed at the celebrities in vain of the Kardashians and Paris Hilton and other celebrities when she said, I get it girls, that it's cool to be a bad girl, but it's possible to make it in Hollywood without doing reality shows. While a dig was definitely made towards Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton specifically, Reese would also go on to say, when I came up in business, if you made an X tape, you were embarrassed and you hid it under your bed. Reese would then go on to say another Hollywood trend she is tired of seeing is the leaking of celebrity nudes photos, and she would even caution those who end up taking them to cover their face so they didn't become the next Kim Kardashian. Number 3, Jon Hamm. Jon Hamm and Kim Kardashian's feud all began when Jon sat down for an interview and said, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupid is certainly celebrated. Being an exploitive idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you rewarded it significantly. The quote found its way back to the Kardashians, who responded by saying she respected Hamm and his right to have an opinion, but we're all working really hard and we all have to respect one another. Calling someone out who ruins their own business is part of a successful TV show. Producers, writes, designs, and creates. Stupid is in my opinion. Jon would then come out to clarify that he didn't mean to personally offend Kim Kardashian, he's just not a really big fan of the culture she represents. When he said, it's surprising to me that it has become remotely a story. I don't know Miss Kardashian. I know her public persona. What I said was meant to be more of a persuasiveness of something in our culture, not personal, but she took offense to it, and that's her right. My quote was simply about the version of television and the version of American culture being celebrated, and it's not something that I particularly enjoy. Number 2, Joel McHale. Back in 2018, Joel McHale would land a new weekly show on Netflix 3 years after E! Pulled the plug on his pop culture show The Soup. After he made a slew of jokes, Kris Jenner wasn't happy about it. Joel, who dished the dirt on E! From 2004 to 2015, told Variety that his streaming series will in some way be similar with its use of clips from television shows among the pity commentary. Reflecting on his years on The Soup, he would also speak about how one of the network's own shows, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, eventually became a no-go area for him, and he would say when Kris Jenner would complain about our jokes, and then later the president of E! Networks would simply ask McHale to lay off the Jenner and Kardashian family for a week, and then the administration and the president told him to his face, don't make fun of the Kardashian family, we don't want you to make fun of the Kardashians. Joel then went on to say that the network really wasn't happy when The Soup started to make fun of Kim, as they always joked about how Kim was only famous for having a big peach and the infamous tape, but I mean, they aren't really wrong. Number 1, Jeremy Renner. Back in 2012, Jeremy Renner would join the growing list of celebrities who have expressed an extreme distaste for the Kardashians. In a recent interview with the UK paper The Guardian, the actor would even claim that he never wanted to be famous, and while discussing the pitfalls of fame, he would unleash his disdain for the reality TV family. When the Kardashians' name was mentioned in the interview, Renner would reportedly roll his eyes and then call them ridiculous people with zero talent, who spend their lives making sure everyone knows their names. He would then add, "They are stupid, stupid people," which makes it definitely safe to say you'll never catch Jeremy spending his weekend binging on episodes of this famous reality TV family show. However, whether you like them or hate them, it seems like if you want to get your foot into Hollywood, you have to get on this family's good side, so you might just want to be careful when it comes to making comments about them, because you never know who might be watching.